One thing that doesn't get talked about enough in franchising is what actually happens once you start growing. A lot of business owners are focused on getting to that first stage, getting the FDD done, selling the first few franchises, getting some real momentum. And when that starts happening, it feels like things are working. But I've seen this over and over again. That growth is actually where a lot of franchise systems start to break down. Not because growth is a bad thing, but because the foundation underneath of it wasn't fully built to support it. I'm Justin Kaiser, CEO of Empire Franchising, and I've spent the last 25 years building, scaling, and investing in businesses, including taking my own franchise brand from zero to over 100 franchise territories before an acquisition at the end of 2024. Now, one of the biggest patterns that I've seen is this. Early success in franchising can actually hide structural issues. Because when you only have a few franchisees, you can manage things manually. You can jump in, solve problems. You can give some of them extra attention, and you can make exceptions, and it feels like the system is working. But as soon as you start adding more locations, more operators, more moving parts, those small inefficiencies start compounding. And that's where everything gets exposed. Now, one of the first places this shows up is support, because a lot of franchisors underestimate how much ongoing support franchisees actually need. Not just at the beginning, but continuously. And when there's no real structure behind that support, no clear systems, no defined processes, no way to scale communication, it starts to break down. Franchisees feel like they're not getting what they expected. They're not getting what they paid for. Performance becomes inconsistent. And now, instead of building a strong network, you're managing problems across multiple locations. Now, another place where this shows up is inconsistency across the brand. If the systems aren't tight, if training isn't standardized, if expectations aren't clearly defined, every franchisee starts doing things slightly different. And over time, that creates a fragmented brand, different customer experiences, different quality levels, different results. And that's one of the fastest ways to weaken a franchise system. The value of a brand is tied to consistency. And then there's leadership, which becomes a much bigger factor as you grow. Because when you're running a single business or even a few locations, you're mostly managing operations. But when you're running a franchise system, you're leading people who are running their own businesses. That's a completely different dynamic. Now you're dealing with different personalities, different expectations, different levels of experience. And without strong leadership, without clear communication and defined standards, things start to drift. I've seen a lot of franchisors hit a point where growth actually slows down, even though the demand is there. And usually when that happens, it's because the internal systems haven't kept up with the external growth. The onboarding process isn't structured. The training isn't scalable. The support team isn't built out. And now, instead of being able to keep expanding, everything keeps bottlenecking because the infrastructure isn't there to support the next level. Now, this is where franchising becomes a completely different game because it's no longer about getting the next deal. It's about maintaining the health of the entire system, making sure franchisees are successful, making sure the brand stays consistent, making sure the support keeps up with growth. If those pieces aren't in place, growth starts to create friction instead of momentum. This is where a lot of franchisors realize that building a scalable franchise system requires thinking several steps ahead, not just reacting to what's happening right now. Because every decision you make early on, how you structure things, how you train, how you support, how you communicate, all of that compounds as the system grows. The brands that scale the best are usually the ones that built infrastructure before they desperately needed it. They put systems in place early. They standardize processes. They create clear expectations. And they build support models that can handle growth. So when more franchisees come in, the system gets stronger, not weaker. And honestly, this is one of the biggest differences between franchise brands that plateau and the ones that turn into real scalable assets. One model is constantly reacting, trying to fix problems as they come up. And the other is building with intention, creating structure, and thinking about how this operates at 10 locations, 50 locations, 100 locations, and beyond. So if you're thinking about franchising your business, or you're already starting to grow, one of the most important questions that you can ask yourself is, if I doubled the number of franchisees I have right now, would the system still work? Would the support still be there? Would the brand stay consistent? Or would things start to fall apart? Because the answer to that question usually tells you exactly where the gaps are. Now, if you want to see what a real system that can actually support growth looks like, how you structure support, how you standardize operations, and how to scale without losing control of the brand, then go to empirefranchising.com and schedule a strategy growth session with us, and we'll walk through everything with you. Now, if you got real value from this, then follow us along our journey, because we're going to be taking 6 brands every year through this exact same process, franchising them, putting together the growth engines, putting everything together on the operations side, putting the support system together, putting everything together so this franchise brand can go from successful local business to building a national empire. If you've built something solid and you're serious about turning it into something bigger, we'd love to explore what that could look like with you.